I know what you're thinking. You clicked another Facebook ads video and you're hoping for the silver bullet, the exact step-by-step guide for exactly what to click and make $1 bajillion on Facebook ads. But in reality, most of those videos are not the silver bullet. So instead today, I'm going to show you by actually unraveling real ad accounts that I've audited just this week, the biggest problems that I see across all of Facebook ads. So if you're a real smart marketer here, if you really want to grow your business, then pay attention to the nuances. The devil is in the details in all of these accounts. So basically what I do when I audit ad accounts is I look for really 5 or 6 core things, because we can't just fix everything all at once and assume that everything's instantly going to get better. A lot of what we're building here is incremental. So what I look for is 5, maybe 6 different things that really need to be addressed right off the bat that I think are going to have the biggest impact so we could attack that in the first 90 days. A lot of these campaigns that we're looking at right now are people who came to apply to work with us at the Moonlighters, and a few of these are in fact working with us after seeing these audits. The very first account that I have here, they spent $25,000 in the last 30 days. They drove a 3 return on ad spend. So generally not a bad position that they're in, but they need to increase their scale. They're stuck, they're hitting a wall. The very first thing I noticed in this ad account is that everything is manual. The entire ad account is using ad set budget optimization. There's literally no control with CBO. There's no automation. There's no scaling logic in this entire account. And the way that I identify that really easily is that my columns are set up in a way where I could see using ad set budget optimization right down the middle here. I'm estimating that this change alone from ABO to CBO, when done in a transitional manner, is going to increase our overall efficiency in the ad account to the tune of 20 to 30%, mostly by minimizing the wasted spend in the ad account. Next thing I notice here is that looking through each of these campaigns, there's no graduation system. So they have literally no way in this ad account to take the top performing ads and promote them into a scaling campaign. It is so critical these days to have a scaling campaign in your account. And the way that I can identify this without even looking into the ad sets is because A, we don't have CBO, which I already mentioned, and B, we don't actually have a single campaign that's dominant in spend. So if you notice here, just looking down the board here, there's so many active campaigns, and all of these active campaigns have a decent amount of spend, meaning our spend is being distributed not evenly, but close to evenly across the entire account. My expectation is that 1 or 2 campaigns represent 50 to 60% of the whole account. And the next thing I did was I wanted to look at all the ads in this ad account. I sort by total spend, so I just want to see everything. And right off the bat, when I actually look at the ads here, the number one thing that I expected is actually happening. We only have a few ads that are representing high levels of spend, and they're not even that high. The most spending ad in this entire account is only spending $1,800 in the last 30 days, and it only represents 8% of the total ad spend. What I expect normally here is for this single ad, the top performing ad in an ad account, to represent upwards of 30% of the total spend. That is an indication that they found a winner. Now, what's crazier here is that they're taking the number one ad in the ad account, they've paused it down in multiple different variations, and nothing else is even replicating these top spending ads. This is just a pure misalignment between human control and AI control. The problem that we have here is that we have a person setting budgets at an ad set level, being very meticulous, thinking that they're smarter than an algorithm, which in tune is wasting a boatload of ad spend. After I got through all the ads in this account, the next thing I looked at was the breakdown. I wanted to look at the placements, the audience segments, the day of week, the time of day breakdowns. We look at everything, of course, when we're actually optimizing in an account. And the thing that we looked at here was we went to the placement breakdown. We looked through all of the ads in the placement breakdown. So when we go to breakdowns, we click placement and we go down to this drop down menu to expand all of our breakdown summaries. As long as we're sorted by spend, we're going to see each placement that's available in the meta network. So Instagram feeds, reels, stories, everything. And what I like to do is I like to look at where's the spend going. Now we can see right off the bat, Instagram feed in app, 3.3 return on ad spend. That's 10% higher than the average in the account. And it is the most spending placement. Fantastic. Here's where my issues begin. Instagram stories, Instagram reels, 2.7, 2.6. If we just took this $10,000 and distributed it more to the better performing placements, especially Instagram feed and Facebook feed, we would see increased results. It's not to say that we need to take every dollar and force it there, but what we do need to do is set up a proper testing mechanism so that we could actually funnel cash into the best performing placements. One of the most obvious things that everyone forgets, you need to be meticulous about where you're putting your spend. I'm estimating estimating that this impact alone is going to really give us about a 10 to 15% increase in efficiency with no drop in scale when they're only spending $25,000 to $30,000 a month. Second ad account here, this is for you guys that are spending significantly less money every single day. These guys have only spent $11,000 in the last 30 days, right? So this is a fundamentally smaller account, and this is a state of an account that needs a lot of help. The very first thing I like to do when I'm auditing an ad account is I look at the audience segments. And if we look through these audience segments, we're going to see through the expanded breakdown that most of the spend is categorized on unknown. I looked a little bit closer at this, of course, and they only added audience segments a week ago. Audience segments came out over a year ago. Just to put that into perspective, whoever was managing this really didn't know that audience segments existed. And if you didn't know, you can go to your advertiser settings and you could add your audience segments, which are one of the most effective ways to see if you're spending on new audiences, engaged segments, or existing customers. The second thing here is they have no clear account structure. Now I'm going to skip over this account structure because the real problem is the excessive campaign turnover. They've launched 24 campaigns in the last 30 days. You heard me right. And I know that someone watching this video right now has also launched 24 campaigns in the last 30 days, and they're just trying to hit. This is not what we're trying to do. We're building a sustainable structure. So in this rare case, a full account rebuild is necessary. They've turned over so many different campaigns, so many different ads, so many different ad sets, so many different audiences that we just need to pull back. We need to think about what's actually most important for this account. And in this case here, I really just want them to focus on our M3 method, which I have a full video on the exact structure and strategy that we recommend, which is going to focus on a prospecting CBO campaign, a scale campaign, a retargeting campaign, and if you have enough existing customers, a retention-based campaign as well. As long as you have those 4 core elements in your ad account, you create swim lanes in the ad account, and you could actually effectively scale and spend money when you're most likely to make money back. And moving on to our next ad account here. Now, you might notice by now, this is the third ad account, and every single time I have the exact same column setups. So I haven't showed you every single column that I'm using just yet, but what you should know for the most part is that every single column I have stays the same no matter what ad account I'm running. And this is your sign to make sure that you have the best possible columns for your business. Things that I like to include, of course, are all my primary metrics, which you can see right here on screen. Take a screenshot if you like them. And then what I also have here is all my secondary metrics, click-through rates, frequencies, reach, impressions. And then finally, at the end, I have all my cost pers, or my add to carts, my initiate checkouts and such, all of which are leading indicators to if the performance of the ad is going to do well long term. So looking in this account, these guys over the last 30 days spent $24,000. They did so at 405 purchases, but they were only able to crack a 1.9 return on ad spend. They need to get this up to about a 2.5 to be efficient enough to scale. Now, when I look at this account, there's so much that we can unpack just on the campaign structure alone. The structure itself, I can't really tell what's going on just by looking at the campaign name, so we'll dig into that. But what I noticed right away is in the bid strategies. They have one bid strategy that's ABO. They have one that's a cost per result goal. That's a cost cap. They have one that's a ROAS goal, and they have one that's a highest volume. It's like they're just throwing everything out there. We're just trying everything. What this does to Meta is it creates massive misleading performance data, right? This is so confusing for Meta's algorithm to understand what is the actual goal. You generally want alignment on your bid strategies and your attribution methods. And that's the second thing I want to call out here. If you actually look in this ad account, you'll see in their attribution settings, they have some campaigns that are 7-day click, some that are 1-day view, some that have multiple attribution settings. Can you imagine Facebook trying to orient who is trying to get the conversion, right? It is so much more challenging. We're literally creating walls within our ad account when if we actually want to drive the best return for the business, keep one single attribution setting. And my recommendation is typically 7-day click, 1-day view, but then you optimize on incremental or you optimize on 7-day click. Now, this is one of those accounts where that first thing I called out trickles down into everything. Keep that in mind. Bad attribution settings is leading to all the other issues here. The first issue we see is when we go into the audience segments and audience breakdowns. You're going to see that some of the accounts that are on different attribution settings are doing completely different in terms of performance. So for example, you would think that this top campaign is the best campaign in the account. It drives a 2.2 return on ad spend. And then this campaign down here, which is only driving a 1.79, is significantly worse. But when you start to break it down with the correct breakdowns, you're going to notice that the bottom campaign is actually the better campaign. So this bottom campaign for new audience drives a 1.8, where the top campaign for new audience drives a 1.3. Furthermore, if we actually break this down and look at incremental incremental attribution, which is going to tell us what did Facebook actually drive for sure, not what was going to convert without Facebook ads. If we actually look at this and we break this down by new customer, it gets crazy. This bottom campaign, which claims to be doing worse, is driving a 1.64 return on ad spend incremental. The top campaign, 0.73 on new audience. More than twice as good, and it's getting a quarter of the spend. Imagine unpacking that and figuring out I could just shift my spend to the better performing place and I will have a better result for this business. That is one of the biggest takeaways that I've seen. And if you're not getting value out of that fundamental takeaway, I mean, please start breaking down your accounts. And if no one's doing this for you, if you have no idea what I'm talking about and you're looking at this and you're thinking, wow, I wish someone would do this for me, go to the moonlighters.com/apply to actually apply to work with us, because this is the stuff we do every single day. Final call out here is that when we look through their prospecting campaigns, which are all supposed to be prospecting, and we actually look through the breakdowns on the audience segments, you're going to notice that the prospecting campaign is actually targeting a lot of existing customers. And if we look through all of the campaigns aggregate, the prospecting campaign that's actually spending $2,600 on existing customers. So we just need to create proper exclusions in an account like this, and it's fine. We should spend on existing customers. We should spend on retargeting. But what we definitely shouldn't do is spend on existing customers when we think we're spending on prospecting. That's going to hurt us long term. The other part is they don't have any engaged audiences, so these lists are just not set up, which is just lazy. All right, next ad account here. There is good and there's bad in this ad account. So there are so many campaigns. We have massive campaign turnover here, but the good news is they've reoriented things just in the last few weeks, where we could see now they have a scaling campaign here and they have a testing campaign here. So they're starting the M3 method, right? They're starting what we prescribe over here. The next thing that's fantastic about this account is when we actually look in the ads, they have so much creative variety, so many different hooks, so many different kinds of creatives. If there's one thing that's saving this account right now, it is this. We always want to have a variety of creatives coming in. Now, the important part is going to be for our team to actually come into play, look through all of those creatives and determine what's actually driving the most amount of revenue. And based on the last report that I showed you, we're going to be doing so looking specifically at new customer acquisition. You're probably going to get it by now, but my breakdown that I'm looking at first is audience segments. And lo and behold, everything is unknown in this account, meaning they have not set up their audience segments in this account. $21,000 spent in the last 30 days, and we have no idea if it was spent on new customers, existing customers, or engaged customers. Imagine you have the ability to know if you're spending on new customers or not, and you choose willingly to not decide where that money goes. Exclusions are critical. Knowing where the cash is going is so important. So once we get these audience segments actually set up, which we can do in the advertiser settings and actually setting up with proper lists and proper segmentation, we then are going to be able to put exclusions in our scaling campaign, our testing campaign, our existing customer campaign, and our retention campaign, which I've talked about 4 times now, but it's crazy how often I see the same issue over and over and over again. So look, as I said at the very beginning, I can give you the step-by-step instruction manual, but you're probably doing things wrong actively in your ad account that you think are right, or you just can't figure out what the problem is. Take some of these notes here and really dig into your account. Go through your audience breakdowns, your geo breakdowns, all of the available breakdowns, platform placement, landing page, etc. Once you start doing this on a regular basis, and yes, this is not a one-time thing, this is regular, make sure you always have a very clean account and you're spending money when you're most likely to make money back. This was a very, very different video than I normally post. So if you want that click-by-click strategy guide, click this video right here where I go through my exact structure and the new way that I'm running Facebook ads this year right now. I will see you guys in the next one.